You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 97 for December 2022. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John. Well, we actually really didn't get into how it's going. So we didn't do that beforehand.
Totally not. No.
Yeah, we were just chatting.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Can you imagine that we've done this for like almost 100 times already?
What?
But actually, I probably were already at 100 because we like skipped a couple where we had to re-record for technical or otherwise other reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, but I mean, in terms of 97 releases, it's pretty good. We did definitely skip months. So
yeah, but
it's
we
not
also I think we at least took out 2, and then one where the audio was really bad.
And there is definitely some cases where we weren't doing. So I think when we originally started it was like every 2 weeks, and then we did that for a while, and then we stopped doing it that way, and then we did it once
tiring.
a month. Yeah, and hey, I don't know what you mean. It's a way
every
of life.
Week, man, that's insane.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We've been doing this for a while. So 97 releases. So yes, we've done this more than 100 times. That would be technically correct from behind the scenes.
Yeah. I think on the website, I think we have the first one was recorded. The official first one was recorded on the 25th of the 9th, 2016. Yeah, we started out with an episode. It was like part two.
Did we? Right, because I don't recall what the deal was.
Oh man, let's just say it was very long, and we had very big opinions about things, and yeah, it was not really useful, and it needed to be cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the intent of the show and what we do, I think the larger problem is, not a larger problem. The larger observation is that to create things is its own like full-time job. So unless you are somebody that 3D prints all the time as your primary business, and you design and then you sell your designs, and then you test your designs, you prototype your designs, or like you're a craftsman, right? You weld all the time and you build things, and like that's a 24/7 kind of thing in physical world for you. Talking about creating and building things is not always there's not always certain levels of nuance that aren't worth talking about, right? Because the core repeatable stuff is boring, you know. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really creative about the sort of day-to-day, stuff. But between the two of us, we create different kinds of things, obviously, between the two of us, and we definitely create stuff. And for me, I would say my constant podcasting element is the thing that I create the most of. That being said, I work on other little things, not with the same priority or focus, or I would say constant focus. Let me say that. It does reserve time in my brain a lot. So, what our show has turned into is just us pick whatever hot topic you wanted, and then we pick it, we go.
And we catch up.
Yeah. Which is okay. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, look, if you look at most podcasts, whether they have an audience or not, it's mostly a bunch of friends who are talking about nothing, who have all their inside jokes. And if they have a million subscribers, listeners, maybe 0.5% of them are their active audience on the show or whatever it is that encourage or keep regenerating the feedback loop on all their stupid jokes and making new jokes and building community and stuff like that. And the rest of them are just sort of speaking into a void, but they're having fun, right? So I don't know. I mean, I guess my larger point is that like your show can be whatever you want it to be. and whether you're chasing an algorithm or you're just sharing your already existing conversations in podcast format.
All we get, by the way, on the podcast email is spam.
Well, of course, right? It becomes an established thing that could be found on Twitter or something, and of course it's
not that much spam, by the way. I think the host that I have the email with actually filters out a lot of the stuff, but there's stuff about books for some reason that I get spam for, and there's of course all the podcast services that want to offer things and whatever. Oh, you're get a larger audience and blah blah
right.
blah blah.
I got one recently, which is not a new idea because I've gotten them before. But I got one this week where it was like guest podcast promo swaps or whatever.
Oh, no.
And then when I looked at the person's network, and the network is nothing, and then doesn't even have a category format for the kind of show that I do. And this is really for OG. Hold on, let me clear my throat.
More stuff I have to cut out.
Yeah, whatever. Small edits, man.
Now I'm gonna leave it in. People are gonna know.
Yeah. What you cut out? Steve will know.
When I don't. No, yeah, Steve. Our one in joke.
Our one in joke. I don't even know if he's still listening. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. It's all good.
For me, recently I've been taking days off to work on do more work on my my book stuff.
Yeah.
I have 13 pictures left, and there's 27 days left in the year. Oopsie. Not even 27 days. I think it's 26 days by now.
Well, I mean, what's the average like page per time?
Well, I have to reach 1 per 2 days, which is doable by itself because I finished like 3 in the last 2 days. So I'm catching up. But like on Monday evening, I'm not going to be able to finish one. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to be able to finish the one. And that's 1 in 2 days. So I'm still catching up all the time. But I took off every Friday until the end of the year. And then I have the last week of December free just to do stuff. Hopefully not too much family stuff, and then how things go. But yeah, just want to finish things, get it done. But I'm never doing this again. Never, ever.
I think you said that last time. You said this last time.
No. In 2015, I did it, and in 2020, I did it. But I didn't do that many pictures in the year. This is the first time I've done this ever. Like if I finish this, I will have finished 56 pictures this year. That's a lot. That's quite a lot. Because I normally do like 12. So it's like pretty close to like 5 times the amount. It's way too much. Way too freaking much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, I could maybe go for more, but
don't.
I'm not going to. I'm leaving everything. I'm not making anything new. I'm just finishing off stuff that's in my queue. And then when that's done, I'm going to have a clean queue to work on, and that's going to be great for next year. And then I'm going to be in the void of like, oh, now I have nothing to finish. So yeah.
Do you apply some kind of productivity process to this, or do you just sort of go as you feel and then argue with yourself and say, okay, this is my cue?
What do you mean productivity process?
Like, are you scrumming something, like you're putting like a t-shirt size on that the level of effort on this particular thing is going to take X number of days or hours and time, and then look at the rank and prioritize and look at the sort of the size of each effort and realize that you have too many, and then make yourself not pull in any new stuff into your queue? I mean, like, this is stuff that you do at work, right? Are you applying this kind of stuff not to make it feel like work, but to help you organize and prioritize and
Well,
like keep yourself in order.
well, what I've done is like during the first half year of this year, I was able to like knock out everything, get everything to like a specific state where I was like, okay, so these are going to be the sketches for this year. I already had planned everything for Halloween. I have the one for Christmas already. Like it's lined and flat colored, and everything was ready in October. Basically, everything was ready to be finished in October, and then I have the last 2 months to just finish every single picture.
Mm-hmm.
So I have all the alternative versions. So I know what it's going to be. It's just me finishing every single thing, doing the same process over and over and over for every picture. So there's for me mostly it's been putting everything into OmniFocus. That's a tool I use for like scheduling when I want to release stuff and for scheduling when I can finish things. So I can put like a date of when I want to have a certain thing done. Besides that, I've been doing for all the other artists, I've been like I put in a when I start working on the artwork, I gave them a Dropbox link where they can dump the files, and I put like a deadline of like the 1st of December. So I think everybody's done so far. So it's the 4th of December right now, but like they've all delivered it. And then there's like one artist that I commissioned last month. That was like an extra one that that has until the 15th. Should be fine. And besides that, I've been just making sure that I've been reviewing my queue a lot. So I go through my queue, say, okay, I want to keep this one, I don't want to keep this one, and cutting those out of the list of stuff that I want to finish. But because I use a grid of like A through F, and I think it's 12 per line. So 1 to 12. So A 1 to 12. I've been organizing it like in a grid of like pictures, and I've been working from the top to the bottom as I put them in. And I have to I name them all with like the letters, so I can put them into the book, so I know how much of the book is done. Then I can link them to those directories. So InDesign, you can link to files instead of just putting it into the document. You put it into files, and then when you update the files, it will tell you, hey, there's files that have changed. Update the files, and then it will put the current the right version in. Now, of course, I don't have like a prepared release process for these things. Although there's going to be a point at some point where I'm going to just automate all this stuff, because releasing like these images to like Gumroad and putting them on different websites, it's such a pain in the butt. And I just want to put like the notes in there, push the button, and send it out. Just be gone, be gone, be gone. But yeah, that's still a lot of work. This morning I did it for, I think for 3. Yeah, so I had 2 in the queue to be released, and then I had 3 other ones that I finished this weekend that I wanted to upload to Gumroad. So everything's on Gumroad now, and then it's going to be released over the next couple of weeks. But there's not enough days in the year left to post everything that's going to be in the book. So now I'm in like confused. Should I post like 2 a day? But I also don't want to get into a point where in January there's nothing that I can post. So I may save some stuff for like next year to post to social media, because that is also, if you don't post every day, that's also, you need to keep the same cadence. Otherwise people are going to expect you to post the new stuff every day. And I don't have the time or the capacity to do that,
right,
like outside of like now. Like I've prepared this. I've been working on this for months, where
right.
I've done the sketches, then done the line, done the flat thing and the shading, and then now I can do everything else and do it in rapid succession. So the reason why they're coming out so quickly now is because I've been working on it for months.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some other artists that have said like, I can't do that. That's just insane. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, creativity comes in bursts.
Well, this
I
I
know at least a
mm,
songwriter, right? And she'll get into, and she's constantly working on, she's literally taking it, it is her job now, right? It is her life, career stuff. So she's always in songwriting motion, even when, she's, let's say, not even on tour, but like, doing gigs or whatever it is. But to that point, her output's pretty good, and the variance in her output's pretty good. And there was a time where she did. This is during pandemic time. She was like, "I'm just gonna take May, and I'm gonna write a song every day." And then until she had like an opportunity where she had to go travel a little bit, she did that. And I would say, let's say out of the 15, 14 or so, 10 of them are like awesome songs, and some of them eventually turned into releases. But this, I could tell you that a lot of artists hate this whole sort of waterfall experience with the way the record companies and labels want artists to put out stuff,
yeah,
because they go and they have a burst of energy and they literally create 2 albums worth of content, and they want to release at least, the good pickings of one of them, and the record company's like, let's take one song and let's live on that for 7 months, right? And it makes them die inside, because when they have the creativity, they want output and they want to see immediate results from the
yeah.
same
I
thing that
think getting the
generates
results
yeah.
is important.
Yeah, and so, and I think that's why, like, we love stuff about programming, especially scripting things, because you can kind of write a thing and see a result, see if you're on course and on track immediately. Like the creation in software. That's why a lot of people love JavaScript and Python, is because they see immediate results, right?
PHP,
Um, hmm?
PHP.
Or in your case, PHP. But I'm just saying, like, that's why JavaScript is such a draw, because you could literally just open up the browser console and just start writing.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. I think after I'm done with this, I'm gonna take a break from like uh, being like from attacking it this way. I still think that I will retain some of these skills that I've learned over the last year of like being able to do it at this pace. Like I still want to be able to push myself to release more than 12 a year. Like
Mm-hmm.
instead of me sitting on my hands uh for like a month and just doing one a month, I don't think I can do that anymore, because it's just but I think I will be swapping it over to like spending more on experimental stuff, like going through like learning new things in this space, like maybe doing some videos on hardware and doing some like art related stuff, like hardware related stuff for artwork. So like there's some controllers for like there's a Zensis something or other. It's like a little button. It's like a Steam Deck, but like with a little screen in the middle, and there's buttons on the side. Looks very similar to the Express Key remote from Wacom, but I think it looks really nice, but it doesn't have buttons. It doesn't have a magnet on the back, so it doesn't stick to your tablet. And there's a new tablet from Wacom that came out. It's like it starts at $3,500. So maybe there's gonna be something like that in the future for me. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think next year is gonna be the upgrade year for everything art related. Just gonna upgrade my skill set, just get better at certain things and learning more things. And instead of like focusing on getting this done, instead of focusing on getting a lot done in a month, I'm gonna be focusing on maybe just you know um how do I say this? Focus more on getting better at producing this instead of being faster, which is what I've been focusing on the last year. because I still want to have the same quality, but last year I've been trying to focus on getting the same quality, but like getting faster at it. So being able to decide, okay, nobody's going to see this part of the picture, so I don't need to focus on getting that little pixel on this location because it doesn't appear in the final product anyway. Mm-hmm. And like in the last couple of years, I've been doing that. Oh yeah, so the entire background is a picture on its own. So I've been putting stuff in the background, and then there's a character in front of it, and it doesn't show up ever. So I've been putting too much work into background stuff and things and layers and whatever. And I think that's also where like other artists are saying like, oh yeah, you should only work on so many layers, like work on like 3 or 4 layers. I'm like, oh, I can't really do that because I have like alternative versions and whatever, and I want to be able to like put maybe a different alt and whatever. And maybe I should start looking into maybe doing that, like not doing that, and then switching over to.
I think, what ends up happening is when people put too much emphasis on something and they work extra hard because they think that's the solution. And when you don't put that emphasis and when you simplify things and you make it easier for yourself, it doesn't feel as stressful. It doesn't feel like such a monotony. I can't say that right.
Monotony.
Thank you. And so there, and I was listening to which is something that I already knew. So for me, this wasn't a new idea, but I was listening to a Radio Lab as I was assembling furniture. That seems to be a hot button. I say building, but what I mean by is assembling furniture. And so there was a Radio Lab, and this is an old one. I mean, I'm well past catching up, right? I'm 100 plus, never listening to Radio Lab. And, so they were talking about somebody who was trying to shorten the time it takes for them to do like a running, like X number of distance and within a certain amount of time. And the informing point is that the individual will get a little better, and get a little stressed and just, working harder and harder and harder. And it would take 43 minutes. And then they finally just sort of gave up and then just sort of walked and ran and just was very chill about it and didn't put any pressure on themselves. And that same time took them 46 minutes. So it goes back to that point, which is if you feel like you need an alternative version, you don't need to have it at the ready. You can go back and do it later. And if you go back and do it later, you might have a different perspective, which means you might have newer ideas you didn't have in the moment.
Yeah. So for me, the when I put them out, they're done. They need to be done. So they need to be complete when I put them out. So I don't want to go back and add more versions to something that I put out, because that means I have to redo the promo picture, redo the whatever, and put the pack back together, put it back online and whatever. I don't want to do that. That's just too much work. It makes it worse, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I'm trying to make sure that I when the thing is done, it's done.
Right. I was gonna say, just like don't kill yourself over a deadline. Right.
Well, I want to finish these pictures in 2022 because then I can easily then I can say, okay, so this is the work from 2021, 2022. Yep. I wonder when we're going to stop saying 20 and then just say, 22 or like 98 or whatever, right? That's going to be
I guess we can. I mean, it's because we're people who existed in the last century.
Yeah. 1999. Right?
Yeah, we existed in the last centuries. To us, it's a context applies, right? Because we existed in the last century, but we didn't exist at 1922. But if you say 22, depending on who you're talking to, if you're talking to someone super young, they don't even think the 1900s unless you frame some context, right? So, yeah, I don't know. What would we say? Welcome to Polymaticast, January 23. We could do that.
Let's do that. Let's for next time.
Yeah, but then everyone's gonna think January 23rd. What? Hold on, it's not January 23rd.
Yeah. I think until we hit the 30s, 31st, then it's gonna be as soon as we hit 32, then we're out of the out of that thing. Yeah, it's been a long time. So book progress. I am stressed as a fork, and I will be working on that tonight. So yeah. Maybe this Friday, next Friday, I'll take maybe the day off, or maybe half a day off, or something like that. So, I have to go to the doctor next week. It's been a year since I got the diabetes diagnosis. So
yeah,
and I have to go for a checkup. So
how do you feel it's going?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though I had a breakfast this morning. My blood sugar was at 5.9, so that was pretty good. So I had breakfast at around 9, and then at noon it was like 5.9, so it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sort of stopped testing on the regular because it wasn't changing. And I know there was some psychological component of me where I was putting too much emphasis. And then I was stressing myself out, and then I was making it elevate. So the random times will be, oh, I should test. I don't have a problem. Let's test to see where I'm at. But I've had this such a long time. I know what my indicators are. I'm not like fabricating indicators and believing and rationalizing, oh, that's an indicator. No. I know what my indicators are. I know when I'm having a problem.
Yeah. So that's kind of funny because I've been noticing, like, I have been testing in the last couple of like months ever since like I went to Austria. I've been like trying to get to the point where I feel good without actually testing, because I think that testing was stressing me out as well. So of course, jabbing yourself in the finger with a sharp object is kind of painful every day. I don't want to do that every day.
Yeah, so that's the other thing, is I wanted my fingers to heal. Right, I needed an extended time, and the whole move, the whole everything, in this year was definitely a tremendous amount of constant grind and stress. So I still have some elements of that, right? It's just settling the house. It's just, organizing. It's just organizing things away, not necessarily. For example, I was looking for a half a second. I'm like, wait, where did I stick that camera? Probably one of two boxes, but until I check, I don't know where he stuck it, right? Because it as an individual item wasn't that important that it needed to be in a certain place. But it was important enough to pile along with other things, right, for a later effort, right? And so it's a constant set of stress. And so, like, while I feel stressed, or I feel like the same indicators are not as clean or as clear as they used to, it's because my input for stress or my responsibility to stress is significantly different. And so I've not really gotten to a place where I feel like I'm calibrated and I've set my baseline. So I'm sort of existing in this sense of not sure if that's a problem or if that's an indicator or that's an impulse, and again, I'm getting a read on myself, and I'm like, my impulse says don't do it, lays out. So I'm going to ignore that impulse, and I'm going to go assemble some more furniture, right? And that's kind of how my weekends go.
I think if I didn't have, I don't think I could have done what I did this year with like finishing all this artwork if I was still like unaware of the diabetes. I don't think I could have done it. I think because last year I did I did less than 12 last year. And this year has been so more productive, mainly because I've been feeling better, and I've lost, let's see, I think 20 kilograms in the year. And that's quite a lot. That's like, let's see, how much is that in freedom units? 44 pounds.
Okay, that's pretty good.
And it's not like I've been doing like a lot of work for it, because I've been sitting on my butt most of the time.
But you're rebalancing and you're paying more attention to your nutrition and your input.
I think that's also helping out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been taking a lot of vitamin supplements to at least counteract some of the stuff that I no longer can imbibe.
Yeah, so there's maybe one medicine. My problem is I've been at a particular family practice for a long while, and when I got there, and they've since like moved from one location to the other. So they used to be closer to the first house that that you had visited. When I started the podcast, and that was part of my decision making. And the doctor specifically didn't really matter. Then she left, and then I got this other random assigned doctor, and he was pretty good. And then he eventually left, and I got assigned somebody else who eventually, after a few years, retired. And then the other doctor came back. And so I was like, great. And he was my doctor for a couple of years. And then he recently left, and I got assigned to somebody who was doing a diabetic checkup thing. And he's like, oh, well, good to meet you. I hope you do well. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm retiring like next week. So I have another doctor probably I'll see in March that is like getting assigned. And through all that, the whole point of all that is that this sort of stuff happens occasionally, and I've not been sort of with any full attention, like tracked or been treated by a specific doctor who is like thinking about my health. And the way our system works, there's something that came out of prescription and needs a renewal, but there's no doctor on the other end of the electronic system to check off on it. So I've been without a particular medicine, and I know it probably is affecting me not in a positive way. Without it, I probably benefited from having it. So, and I've not made enough of a ruckus about this. But I don't know. I mean, I just sort of I noticed something where I was avoiding a lot of salty stuff, and one day I had some junk food, and I felt better. My body was just sort of like it needed something it wasn't getting, and sometimes like those bad foods, sometimes I eat that stuff and I feel better. And you just sort of your chemistry in your body and all that stuff changes a lot. And so while for you rebalancing is a new experience, the things that today won't be as effective, and you'll have to figure out your chemistry a little bit, to figure out how to, feel even better once you figure it out,
I think from what she told me in June, she said like, so from what we can understand right now, you're at the you don't have diabetes section. In half a year, I just attacked it so head on that I was like, okay.
So people say they do keto and it's like, I've reversed my diabetes. I'm like, no, you have constrained your input and controlled everything, and maybe you have sort of cleaned out your body a little bit so that it can overwork some more until it burns itself completely out. But no, you haven't reversed your diabetes. You have just better controlled everything.
Okay, so what she said is we might have to stop with the metformin in December.
Yeah,
because I've switched down from like 2 a day to like 1 a day.
Okay, so this is good. Yeah.
So I might have to. I can probably stop with metformin maybe in December. I don't think it's a good idea. I think I should continue with that for like at least another half year. But that's what I think. I'll ask what she thinks. We can always
doctors are certified and they run by numbers.
I think for me, like I know. I've done a couple of days where I was like, oh, I forgot to take the medication. So, and then like a couple of days later, I was like, oh, okay, I realize why I forgot the medication, and I feel what happens if I don't take it. So, yeah. So I think I've been so carb restrained for the last year that it's like it's been, you know, you're supposed to take like a certain percentage of your day intake as like carbs, but I've been it's putting that number as low as possible.
Right.
And I'm not even like eating a lot of protein or eating a lot of fat or whatever to compensate. So I'm still not eating a lot.
Well,
I'm just not
it's
eating
it's a
a lot.
combination of things as well, and so I don't know what it is in the Netherlands. Again, this is like a TikTok video, but somebody who is an American living elsewhere, Australia, and she went and she looked at the ingredients list of snack food here in the U.S.
Hmm.
and then the version in Australia. And when you look at the ingredients list in the U.S., it's got so much. It's like a novel size listing of chemicals,
Yeah.
and in Australia where they have a great deal of restriction on a lot of that stuff that's not legal. It's like not it's like a sentence.
Yeah.
And her comment was because someone was asking what's the biggest shock, and he's like, how food is just the same food is much better here in Australia. Was her comment was because the government has very particular restrictions, and in the U.S. it's not the same. And it wasn't like this was a lobbying towards like food thing, and outside it wasn't anything like that. It was just that it was much simpler, and it's like most people don't have the same kind of problems that people in the U.S. do,
Yeah.
eating the same junk.
Yeah. So I've been experimenting with like different foods, like
Mm-hmm.
because I've been trying to because of the last year, I've been lowering the amount of carbs to like absolute lowest I can get away
Yeah.
with, and I've been like seeing how much of the bread I can eat. Like if there's like a brown bread, like it's as much whole wheat as possible, like as
Mm-hmm.
much fiber as possible. That's also very good. So then I know it's tasty and it's good, but I also don't get like I don't fall asleep afterwards,
Mm-hmm. Well,
right?
yeah. I mean, I don't. Sadly, I don't pay enough attention to it, but glycemic index. If you look at some foods now, obviously you want to stray as much away from processed foods as possible.
I
That
wish
being
I wish
said,
they would put that on the labels.
right.
I wish they would put this on the label like as a objective as a like a number, like
Mm-hmm.
a this is for diabetics, this is a number 5 or whatever,
So when
right?
Android was like version 2, there was this app, very early days of Android, called Restaurant Nutrition. And it was not a fancy looking UI. It was basically just a database, and they whoever was updating this thing, and then of course as Android UI changed, the app just wouldn't function anymore. Like the drop lists and search and everything broke.
Yeah.
And so this person or these people never updated this thing. And this is like made by probably like a college student or something. It was not made by a company. And one of the things you could do is you could look up any restaurant, any fast food place, whatever it was in the world. Obviously, your mom and pop shops wouldn't be included. And you could find out what the carb and the nutrition details were on everything. So, and I remember I was at an Otakon, this was still in Baltimore, and I was sitting with somebody that we were a sort of a staff friend, and we were at like a Jimmy John's, but like a place that makes sandwiches, and they have pickles, right? And I was just going through this process, and I looked it up, and I was like, their quarter pickle was like 1,800 milligrams in sodium,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that is beyond your daily limit as a human.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
quarter thing was 1,800. No wonder why, right? And so it was just like I looked it up and I was like, ooh. I was like, I mean, I'm still gonna eat part of that, but like that is no wonder why there's a problem there. And it's like, and their full pickle was like crazy. It was like 3,000.
Yeah. So
And
I've been using the Fitbit app,
okay,
because you can put your own foods in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been just looking at the daily nutrient intake, so
Yeah.
that because it's kind of annoying because it doesn't do the barcode scan here because it doesn't have the database over here. It's
Okay.
kind of annoying.
Got it.
I wish there wasn't like an app for that actually did that here in the Netherlands, but like then if I were to go like on holiday somewhere, it doesn't work anymore. So I still need to. So I guesstimate a lot. So when I go to restaurants and stuff, it's gonna be out the window because I have no idea what's gonna be in there. So I just say lots.
Right.
Just put the marker as high as possible for that food, and just get the one that has the highest amount of stuff in it.
So it had been since the last month or whatever it was, but I got some. I felt the need for some sushi from the sushi place, and I just didn't feel like going out. Right, I was in for the day, and I felt like some sushi. So I basically had a DoorDash, and oh boy, do I feel like that I haven't had that taste and any of that stuff in such a while, and it was so good. But I also felt like, because anything with sauce on it has lots of sugar. All your teriyakis, all your hoisin, they have lots of salt and they have lots of sugar. That's why they're tasty. And of course, you have a little of it, and then you're like, oh, I just want to eat the whole thing. And I'm like, no, no, you're not. You're gonna eat a quarter of it, and you're just gonna deal with it, right? Because I could feel how the sauce or whatever it is immediately was hitting me.
Okay, so for me, the sauce is not the problem. The problem for me is the rice. The rice will fuck you up for days.
Depends. A good rice, and more natural rice, where basically the complexity of the sugar is complete, not incomplete. Will depend. So for me, it depends on the rice. I definitely have a good Carolina rice that I haven't made since I've been here, but I used to make. Got a lot of it during the pandemic time. And I don't feel like crap after I eat it.
Yeah.
And it's because it's still a natural rice here in the U.S. It's not bleached out. It's by a small company.
But the Chinese place I go to has they don't have a healthy option rice. Mm-hmm. They don't have a whole grain, whole thing.
Right, yeah.
Which I normally would get, and I don't have any trouble with that. If I eat that, it's okay. I can eat that with egg and whatever. But if the problem is not the sauce, the problem is the rice. It's the rice. It's the whitest rice possible, and it's there's some vegetables in it, but it's not enough. And then there's lots of rice, which is like a sugar bomb. And then a couple of days after that, I still feel like crap.
Yeah, I made some pasta earlier in the week just to leave in the fridge for any case where I just want something small where I know my body something's going on and it's I just need some carbs. And they're not good carbs for me, right? I have bad reaction to it, but I made it last night. I made a bowl. I reheated a bowl of stuff. I put cheese on it, a little bit of butter. Felt fine. Feel fine today. Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
So it's a matter. It's like a little overall balance of stuff. Yeah. So anyhow,
I wish they had I could probably call them and ask them if they can add a dish with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'd probably be open for that. But then again, okay. Anyway, so diabetic update.
Yeah, I noticed we were talking about it. We probably could be talking about it for a while, and I don't have a problem talking about that stuff. But
we've already talked about it.
It's good, at least good update, anyways. So
yeah. Okay, so I've crossed off the day off working more stuff because we've talked about that too.
Mm-hmm.
So anything you're working on towards prepping your house for the winter? You gotten anything that you need to install before it gets dark?
No, not really. I mean, like I told you, I closed off the hose bibs for the front and back of the house. So I closed those off, and my house in the bottom, I don't know if they do this in out your way, but I have a PEX manifold. So I just go to the manifold, and aside from turning off, the hose on the outside, right, which they're already closed, I just went to the manifold and pulled the tool and got front house bib, back house bib and turn the tool and put it back. So the manifold in the house is turned off. So, so it's good. I don't really have anything I have noticed, and I have not. It's not
Has it
it's
snowed
not
there yet? Has it
It has
snowed
not.
there?
No.
It's not. Okay.
And so the only thing that when it rains, like it rained yesterday, and I hate doing this, but I go from the garage, and the only problem is I don't have like a flagstone walkway set up yet. From the back, from the detached garage at the back of the property to the back door of the house.
It's all on grass.
It's all on grass, and it's all still muddy because even though they laid a lot of grass seed down, none of it really had an opportunity to grow because it's cold. So, and what I want to do is, not only do I want all that stuff, and I've yet to go over to like, one of those like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or something here in the U.S. Go over to one of those places and just lay down more grass seed, which is something I need to do before it starts snowing anyways. It's all sort of, not even, and it's muddy, and then there's a little steep, because they had to elevate the garage up, right, because of some code. So it's a little of like, what am I going to do when it snows? Am I going to risk it, or I'm just going to park my car out front? So don't know yet. Haven't decided. Hasn't happened yet. And some part of me is going to flagstone walkway. And I already know who I can call to do that. So I already reached out to him. He's like, yeah, we do that stuff. And I said, all right, I'll reach out to you like flip of next year. I have no idea what that costs. But one of the things I've seen and I want to look into is there are these heated mats that are meant to be outdoor mats over walkways that you can lay down that basically heat up. You can turn on and they'll heat up so that you basically don't have to shovel your walkway and stuff like that. So I might look into doing that for the
solutions.
Once I get into the sort of a flagstone walkway from the back, I might look into getting some of that stuff and having some of that stuff installed around here, and then that way I don't have to reduce risk and not worry about it too much in front of the house and back of the house, up until the sidewalk, because there's a sidewalk in front of the house here that actually isn't decorative. It actually, you can walk down to places. Yeah, I mean, there's nobody who can tell me on my property I can't lay down those heated mat mechanisms.
Well, the walkway is probably not yours.
No, the walkway is, the sidewalk is not.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I can have a set of mats, sort of up to the stairs or whatever. So. Yeah.
Okay. Well, over here, everything is very expensive at the moment. We're getting a rebate from the government on the energy costs. So we got it through the energy company. So the energy company is sending us money. Okay. So my energy costs for December and for November was like I think like $30, and we get 190. 190 euros. Yeah. So I'm gonna get another 190 in December. And then in January, there's going to be a fixed price for power and for gas, because it's been very expensive this year, and I really hope that that things calm down in the east.
Yeah, I'm not fully neutralized in terms of an energy point yet. I just got here. I spent a lot of money. I've spent a tremendous amount of money, and I stopped having to count how much extra money above and beyond like all the existing, money I spent this year. And that's a lot. It's a lot, right?
Are you going to install your own solar then?
I'm not going to do the work. I'll hire somebody. But yeah, I mean, it's not, right now it's not feasible financially. So when I'm done paying off the car, which is from this perspective is probably a few years from now, when I'm done paying that thing out, I'll have that income available to me. I really should take that and maybe put a little bit more towards principal on the mortgage, and maybe take the remaining part of that and put that towards, rebuilding up sort of, 401k or the fund that mutual fund that I investing stuff into. So, to rebuild those things back up. Because I dipped into that stuff, to achieve what I've recently achieved.
Yeah.
So, that's a wiser thing to do. And you would think with as long as everything goes well in life, I will have a little more income portfolio over the next few years. Again, if all things go well, right? And the world isn't on fire, then,
Yeah.
some of that could turn into a little bit more, and then that can go into a solar installation.
Yeah. The only problem here for me, like I would like to go solar, but like my balcony is not big enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can put some solar panels there. I just think that my neighbors would not be very appreciative of me doing that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
like, I could put them on the actual balcony. That would be fine.
mm-hmm.
I could just install it there. Nobody's going to complain about that.
The other thing I can, also part of that solution is you go solar, and then, the gas was already in the house, and the heater was already bought, right? Like all that stuff was already there. So otherwise I would have opted for these things to be electric. So if I want to terminate the gas entirely and sort of be as neutral as possible, I'd have to replace my HVAC. And if I was to do that, I'd replace it with a heat pump, and then a heat pump system. And then I would also have to change out my dryer. I'd have to get a new dryer for clothes, because it
Gas
functions
powered?
on. Yeah.
What
Mm-hmm.
the hell?
Yeah, but dryers
Never
are.
heard of that.
Yeah, no, that's true. That wasn't odd for me.
What?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
if you have natural
crazy.
gas coming in, then they have gas powered dryers.
I don't think I've ever seen that here. Ever.
Yeah. I'm
We
used to them always being electric because I never had a house that had natural gas as an option. And usually that goes along with having like gas for your stovetop, right? Which is kind of the solution people want when they're doing cooking and stuff. But I was like, no, I don't want to do a gas cooktop. I'm doing induction.
I have induction. Okay.
Yeah, well,
I have
I
halogen,
paid
I
extra
think.
for that. So, they're like, you want induction, you have to pay for it. If you don't get a discount, I was like, that's fine.
Just buy it
So,
yourself. Put it in.
well, I bought it, and I gave them the money, right? So,
Yeah.
I gave them a check, and they bought it, and it delivered, and they installed it. So,
Mm. Any plans for 2023?
I'm sure there nothing any fun or interesting things. There are plans in my head for what I'm doing with the house.
Yeah. Are you going to be is a documentary you were working on ever coming out?
I mean, I got to start spitting some stuff out. My problem had been we had a year of interruption, and then in 2021 I did not go to the convention. And my biggest problem is that getting interviews when everyone is there is the worst time to do it. It's the best time and the worst time because people of vital titles are just stressing out over the Otakon weekend.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do anyways in 2021 was to work with a couple of the like particular departments and just document some of their day to day or moments of their day to day, and when a crisis comes up or when a challenge point comes up, to kind of follow them, like as if I was filming it behind them, mic a couple people up. So there were a couple cases where I couldn't get anyone for interviews. And I was taking a lot of B footage, a tremendous amount of B footage. And of course, I was building my skill with one of the 3-axis cameras with my smartphone, one of the 3-axis camera rigs. So I was getting a lot of particular footage, which was good, and some time lapses. And then there were some higher ups where I was just sitting down in a moment with them because I was walking around a lot, and they were sitting down waiting for or talking about some issues. And I happened to do a walk around of the building, which was basically me filming the line that was in going through registration. Basically, 30,000 people were basically registered and getting sorted out. And while it was reasonably smooth, there was a line twice over around the building. And I showed some footage with them, and then that brought up some concern. And they're going up and they're looking out the windows and like, oh, and they're making some phone calls. And I was there during all of this. And so I started filming them, and I started to mic them up, and I started to film them and follow them around with the gimbal. And that is the kind of stuff that I need to build so that I have moments captured, and then I couple it with interviews about the moments. And so that's the kind of stuff that I wanted to be doing anyways. And this is the kind of stuff that I need to be capturing. But the problem is I'm only one individual, and unless Anthony comes back, next year, I don't have like a fleet of skilled people giving me all this material where I can start cutting meaningful little bits. I can have somebody talk about a moment, and I can couple it together in a documentary in these nice little clips, and that's great. But it's really boring without context, So I'm still working towards it, but there's only so much I can do, and I can go travel to people's houses, and I can have interviews about stuff, and I should be doing that more often. But everyone is still in this state of, no one's coming to me. No one's getting into my house. They're still in this sort of state of mind of lockdown as they should. So
very introverted people doing introverted things.
No, it's just that, a lot of this stuff, in the case of Otakon, the core individuals that make the convention function, all the stuff is happening all throughout the year, but the things that you want to witness as somebody watching it in context to a film isn't interesting in their living room where they're talking about it, right? Yeah. You need to see what they're talking about. Yeah. So
okay, we got games. I've been on a Terraria kick, so every night before sleep I just go play like half an hour of Terraria to just unwind the brain. And it's been very entertaining. I've been very enjoying that. And there will be a link to something interesting in a few minutes. And you bought Anno?
I bought Anno 1800. I've been looking at it for a long while. I was like, I don't really want to install Ubisoft's game launcher thing, whatever. And then I eventually just caved in and I bought it. And so I started to play it yesterday. Or I started to set up to play it. It had, of course, how to download everything. So I went off and I did other stuff. When I came back to it, I was about to start it. It crashed out. So I went off and I played something else for a little bit. So I'll get back to it to make sure it's okay. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. I want to play it. It's like Ashes, right? I bought it and I play it every once in a while. And it, same thing with Satisfactory. I like the game, but I play it every once in a while because it you hear the vortex start up on my 3070 and then, everything is very unhappy. So,
that sounds not good.
Yeah, no. So, it's just one of those things where when I do play it, hopefully it won't crash out. There's clearly something not right since I moved. Because I've noticed some games that aren't graphic intensive have been sort of crashing out lately.
So when I'm next over there, I should definitely have a look at your machine.
Yeah. Or knowing me, I will probably save some pennies when I'm done buying all the furniture in the house.
Your machine is fine.
and knowing me, I'll probably buy whatever another system. So, yeah.
Okay. Another news, sports ball, or at least what we call sports ball over here. So we got soccer. The Netherlands won of the U.S. Yay! We knocked everybody in the U.S. out of the World Cup that was problematic on its own. Yay! Now we have more weeks of freaking soccer. I hate it so much.
Yeah, that was the only game as a kid I liked. But I never got into any of the soccer clubs or anything like that. So, I didn't care that much. Running was my thing.
Dutch was trending on Twitter. I was like, huh? Why is Dutch trending on Twitter? Oh. There were people from the U.S. complaining about, oh, the only Dutch we like is this. And it's like a Dutch oven. Like, yeah.
Okay. I care so little.
Yeah, me either. I just... yeah. The Americans were really salty about it for some reason. I'm like, you don't even like this sport. You don't even care about it unless there's a World Cup. And you're never going to make it anyway because, U.S. is not, it doesn't specialize in this.
Even in high school, I went to school with people when soccer was not a popular sport in the U.S. at all, right? Because it's basically basketball, baseball, or American football. And I definitely knew there were people who were really into soccer. Again, like I said, I liked it, as a game to play. I wasn't bad at it, but not any amount of seriousness was invested on my part. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think many people in the U.S. like it. So it's not really top of mind there. So
it's not top. I don't know if we don't like it. It's just not one of the 4 major sports that are promoted actively around here.
Yeah. Especially if you lose.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I live outside Philly, and Philly is a very big sports town. Yeah. Like, they go freaking crazy over things. So, Philly's lost. Eagles have been doing well. I don't know where they are right now, but they've been kicking butt. But then, if we get to the Super Bowl, we'll lose. So it's like, whatever. I don't, my ebb and flow in life does not revolve around a sports game for me. That's not my thing,
Yeah, I hate soccer. I hate it so much.
Hate playing it, or just hate the obnoxiousness that comes along with it?
I hate the it's like 90 minutes of hell if it's on TV. Like, when I was a kid, my dad liked to watch it, and I was like, oh, I really don't care about this at all. It's like, my brother was really into it as well, and he was like, yeah, and he was like really in favor of a specific team, and whenever that team played, I took the other team. I was like, yeah, I'm pro this team because I freaking hate this game. Go away. Stop bothering me. It's 90 minutes of 22 idiots running after a freaking ball. It's very annoying. Go away. Make it go away. I hate soccer. Here, on the record. I freaking hate soccer. There.
The only games that I could go to a game and enjoy myself is hockey and basketball. That's it. Those are the only games, because they're fast moving and they don't spend a tremendous amount of time politically milking a process to win.
Well, I don't think soccer is that either. I don't think soccer is in
football
that.
Is very similar, like where they basically.
Well, I'm calling it soccer. It's actually called football, but
right.
But American football, let's just call it that.
Right.
It takes a very long time. I think I would not.
The game actually doesn't take a long time. The scoring, manipulation, getting yourself progressed across towards the goal, and creating fouls for a reason. Baseball is the same way. I hate it. Takes freaking long.
I think baseball
to have
is
a game.
I think probably baseball is even worse. I tried to watch some of that. I was like, I am so freaking bored.
Right, exactly. I don't have the patience for that.
I don't ever want to watch this again.
Hockey, it's all over the place. It's great.
Yeah, but then there's people getting injured and stuff. That's entertaining.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I also
Fights, wonderful.
I went to a few games with friends who were like, really big into hockey, and I said, look, if there isn't blood, if there isn't at least one fight, it's not a good game.
Well, if there's blood on a soccer match, then there's something going wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay. Anyway, so I've been watching 1899. It's very confusing and strange and things. I'm on the last episode.
Yeah, I definitely will hate it.
And I pretty much figured out what happens, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah, I'm going to spoil it, but like so far it's been entertaining.
I liked it. Intentionally confusing for the sake of being intentionally confusing is not a good entertainment format for me.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
You said it was very confusing. You're not the only person.
Confusing. It is not. It was none. It wasn't like intentionally confusing. There was a lot going on. Like there's so many different components, and like with other shows, they show you multiple angles from the same perspective, like the same event happening on the same thing, and that shows you more of that stuff. But for this, they just had a continuous narrative running, like with different characters and trying to figure out which character was which character, and then I'm familiar with the European languages enough that I recognize the languages that are being spoken, but still I had to turn on the subtitles, because I don't speak Danish. I speak some German. I don't speak French, right? So, but they have like all these different languages happening in that thing. And that was what was confusing, because like they'd switch between the different characters and they'd be speaking a different language, and then they were asking each other questions in a different language and somehow understanding each other, which was kind of weird. And then I was like, okay, yeah, there's something else going on here. And I figured out pretty much like in the first few episodes, like, okay, this is happening. I know where it's going. So I'm pretty sure that's the case. What's happening?
I read the description on it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I think I would be frustrated with this. And then I heard some other people give similar, like, I was really confused for a really long time, except like the last episode.
A lot of people are watching the dub, and that you don't want to watch the dub.
Okay.
You want to watch it with subtitles, because then you realize they're not being able to speak to each other, and why they're asking questions. So if you watch it with like the dub, you don't realize that they can't understand each other. Right? They're on a boat, like in the 1800s, and on a, yeah. So I won't spoil much, but like it's a mystery thing, and there's like
it does not ring high on my interest to watch.
It had a bit of a Lost feel.
Oh, then I won't like it. Yeah. I consider these time wasters as an entertainment format. Right. Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a very big payoff on this show.
Then I totally won't watch it.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Anyway, you've been watching Wednesday?
I finished it. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in reruns, obviously I didn't exist when the original black and white show was on the air. And then they rebooted some movies or something. I'm old enough they rebooted the movies. And I watched some of those, and they're kind of good, but there's nothing to it. There's no TV series. And one of the things that was of note to me is that I thought that Christina Ricci really did an amazing job elevating the Wednesday character, right? In the reboot, right? We're talking the reboot.
This one that's on Netflix right now.
And now on Netflix, that is not obviously Christine Ricci, though she plays a character, but she doesn't play Wednesday or the parent of Wednesday. She doesn't play Morticia or anything like that. But I thought her version of Wednesday brought an element that the original character didn't have, and so I thought that was I enjoyed it. So when I saw this, I was like, I watched an episode, and they immediately explain themselves what you can expect basically in the first episode within the first 10 minutes. And so I was like, all right, this is good, right? Because it explains the context of what you expect and who the Wednesday character is.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm going to finish that, but we'll see.
Did you even start it?
I haven't started it yet.
Okay, so I won't.
I also don't have a lot of time, so I've been focusing on getting things done.
You know what? You don't have to be a part of the trend. You can wait until next year to or around the holiday time when, if you do have some low away from the book, to spend an hour and watch the first episode.
What I've been looking forward to is the sequel to Knives Out. That's coming out soon.
Okay.
You watched?
I think I've heard that, but I don't know anything about it or its timeline.
It's like so you've watched Knives Out?
Yeah, I pretty sure I bought it. I rented it and I watched it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be on Netflix on the 25th of December.
Oh, really? Interesting. Because I had to get it from Amazon. I think. I don't think it was available through Netflix. Well, hold on. It might be for you. In the U.S., it might be a total different situation.
I think it's on Netflix on the 25th of December.
Oh, okay.
For everybody. It's like a Christmas movie.
Interesting.
Like a murder mystery for Christmas.
Like Die Hard.
Yeah. But not well, there's going to be murders. So. Anyway, so I liked it. I liked the Knives Out, and I think it's probably going to be a good one. I hope so. I really liked Knives Out, so I don't know. Maybe they can redo the magic. And then the final book of the Expeditionary Force is going to come out this week. So by the time this is out, it's probably already out.
I don't know this series. Should I know this series?
No, it's a book series. Featuring an AI called Skippy.
Okay.
And he is basically an asshole.
Okay.
And he is the asshole AI trope, but like really well done.
Okay.
Forgetful ancient AI helping humans and messing things up in the meantime as well. And there's like a good dynamic between the main character, where he's the brunt of all the tricks that the AI wants to play on people. So he usually gets blamed for things and stuff. And it's lots of humor. So it's not The Expanse, definitely not The Expanse. It's more military sci-fi, but also a lot more humor in it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm sad it's going to end, but also I'm like really curious to see how it ends, because the author for this book, when he started this series, he basically already knew how it was going to end, so he had like a plan for the entire series. Now there's been a number of extra books put in between, so it was initially going to be like 12 or something like that, so now it's 15 total. But it's going to be, I hope it's going to be a good one, because we get some answers to some questions that have been going on for a while. The Reddit for the book series has been active recently about this kind of stuff. I hope we get some answers, at least. Would be nice. Anyway, so let's do some fun stuff. Do you have anything else?
No, not really.
Not really?
No, not really. I saw some notification. I do have a package coming today, so I don't know if your package is getting. I got some tracking thing that was telling me some package was coming today, but I don't think it's that one. So I guess I'm getting 2 packages today, but not by the end of this recording.
Yeah, it's still not out for delivery. So.
Oh yeah, so it's coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So fun stuff. I mentioned Terraria earlier. Captain Sparkle's playing Terraria. Polymatic.media/173. And I don't expect you to have watched everything, but did you at least watch some of it?
I watched first episode of it. I don't subscribe to him, so I'm not really following everything he does. I know you do. That's why these things show up. But yeah, no, I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, right, I own it. And but I've never really spent any time playing it. And the closest equivalent I spent a bunch of time playing was Starbound. Right.
Well, I like it as like a replacement for Minecraft for me, because it's like it's good to play, but it's not 3D on the Steam Deck. Because I don't like playing shooters on console or stuff like. I have Horizon Forbidden West on the PlayStation 4, but I don't play it because I hate playing with a controller. A 3D game with a controller. It's just super annoying to me.
No,
I want a mouse keyboard.
Yeah, and while I guess I eventually bought Dragon Builder on the Switch, and Paul gave me Dragon Builder 2. I never really played it. It was difficult to play with the controller. And it's sort of, the game is not Minecraft, right? And it does a couple things that are maybe outside of Minecraft, like the way you can place sort of half blocks and stuff like that. It's not Minecraft. Like, so the quality of the level you would expect from Minecraft, Dragon Builder is not. But that being said, just even functioning in that world was kind of always challenging, right? So I relate to what you're saying. Yeah, on the Switch. Yeah. Okay. I never played Minecraft on the Switch, and I just can't imagine I'd want to do it. The same problem I had playing it on my smartphone. For me, it has always been a keyboard in front of a desktop experience.
Yeah. Which is kind of annoying because I did play Minecraft on the Switch, but it's just, it wasn't very performative. Like, I have Terraria on the Switch, but it performed so bad. I was like, okay, I don't want to play this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the Switch, it was actually, on the Steam Deck was actually really good.
Okay. So that was polymatic.link/173. Okay, so I follow Johnny Harris. I've been following him since he was doing stuff, I think, through Vox or whatever they had some other named channel on the side that I think he worked for. And for the life of me, am completely blanking out on the name of the network. They eventually just merged it into all of Vox. But regardless, he had this video which I thought was pretty good. It's just sort of what he does. He likes maps, so he has stories about maps, or he integrates maps into all of the things that he does. But this one is really about maps. And
maps.
Polymatic.link/174.
Okay.
The biggest mapping mistake.
Yeah, it's about California.
It is, yeah.
So next one is Nal Green behind the scenes. Nal Green he currently goes by Mr. Green. Nal Green is the persona. He did AI imitation of Nal Red, the chemist YouTuber, and then Mark Rober, where he did like they had a bomb thing with he was forcing Nal Red to build a bomb and whatever, and he eventually had to take those videos down because they were too confusing for people. Right. So anyway, there's like a behind the scenes video because he recorded everything behind the scenes. That was pretty nice. Polymatic.link/179. Okay.
This is just weird, but might be a good weird. I just called it glowing trees. There's a little bit more to this. Polymatic.link/175. It would be interesting if we have environments like this. Probably will never be.
So
we're
basically
bright.
doing Avatar.
I guess. Yeah.
All we need is fish people. Anyway, Hacksmith is taking a break. I was going to talk about overworking myself, but this is a thing that's pretty sad. Polymatic.media/17A. It's about the changes on Hacksmith. I don't know if you follow Hacksmith, but it's an interesting channel, and they have like maker stuff mostly.
And I do follow sort of channels that do maker stuff, but not in any kind of religious format. Like, Jimmy DiResta, I'm subscribed to, but I don't watch every single video. And not every video is interesting to me, right? But if Frank Howarth is there, or this old Tony is there, and some others, then I will spend time to watch their videos in full. So.
Yeah, this old Tony has probably fallen off the world again.
Well, also, I mean, this isn't his day job. This is just a side thing he does. So, he does have kids. Like, he does have a life. So, so we think, right?
Make more videos, Tony. Make them all.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess that the next one is me. I thought this was interesting. I think this is a Vox video.
This made me very angry.
Made you very angry? I thought it was interesting. I'm not this kind of super fan. I could never afford to do this kind of thing. 2, I would never do this kind of thing. But I thought it was interesting, and that was the point of that. OG link. What am I saying? OG link. Polymatic.link/176.
Okay. Yeah, it was very annoying. So following that up, Rocket Knife. This is the Backyard Scientist. Polymatic link/17B.
Okay.
He basically puts knives on a rocket.
Okay.
Because
I realized
American military stole his invention.
I realized the Mark Rober one. Did you see the most recent Mark Rober one?
I don't follow Mark Rober because I think he's very annoying.
Okay. All right, then I'll try to remember not to share that video with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone rebuilt Johnny number 5 from the movie Short Circuit. Polymatic.link/177.
Is this the same person that Dissel Tony made the antenna for?
Oh, I don't know. Was there a thing where he?
Yeah, he did a
that?
thing for Johnny 5, like a channel that rebuilt Johnny 5.
Oh, okay. So I don't know it on YouTube. I saw it a couple times. I think that that's who they are, unless this is a repost of somebody, co-opting, which is a possible thing on TikTok.
That's a lot. Like there's a lot of like people who just re-record videos from different science YouTubers, and they just use some of their footage or even like some of the research,
right?
And they just re-narrate it and just put it on TikTok.
Right. They put it into short TikTok format, and so what I'll do is I'll watch the video a little bit and I'll skip it, right? Because I know that's Veritasium, that's Derek's voice. Like I know what they're doing. It's like
But there's also like CGP Grey videos on there. It's
right.
Like, what are you doing?
Then there were times where BG Gray, I screwed up his name. Whatever. He has a presence on TikTok.
I don't think he does.
I believe he does. Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
No, but you're gonna make me look.
CGP Grey is not on TikTok. I don't think he's on TikTok.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure.
He's like anti-social media. He's like he's barely on Twitter.
Pretty sure I was following him. Minute Physics TikTok.
That's Minute Physics, and not CGP Grey.
Oh, CPTG Grey. Yeah, okay, got it. I always confuse the two of them. They have very similar voices.
No, they don't. No, really, they don't.
Maybe I don't.
Not at all.
I don't really follow CGP Grey that often, so maybe that's why I think that
he does.
I know
do
who
stick
he
figures,
is.
so I understand the confusion with.
He's been around as
Physics.
long as Minute Physics and Veritasium and Vsauce and every little flavor of that in between that have all gone away by the wayside. They all sort of showed up at the same time with this animation thing as their format. So
Anyway, next one is Works Up with Profound Mysteries number 3, which is the last album in this series, and they're going to do more stuff later. But this is the last one of this series. Polymatic.media/17C for that.
So this is Flurry, and I've been following this artist for a while, and I like her music, and this is just a more recent lyric video for something that's coming out. Polymatic.link/178.
Yep. I think we've discussed this before, but I think I linked Flurry to you at one point. I think.
No, it was Sarah Dietschy who did a video for her when she still lived in Nashville. And so the work that she did, like it took them 2 years or something for someone else to take the work, whatever, do the edit and release it. But she wanted to help promote the artist. And so I checked out the artist and I was like, oh, cool. And then I got some of her songs and got her album. And I was like, oh, I really like her. I like her sound. So, and then she did a couple other things. Constellation, Chasing Stars are really good too, where she had some singles out. I don't know if they ever made it to an album, but she had a bunch of things where she was doing some electronica stuff with, like mashup or featured with other people. And so I've basically been following her ever since. I am probably not up to speed with the latest. I have a long list of artists of things to get to their latest on their albums and CDs and singles, and me waiting 5 years is okay because there's going to be 5 trillion singles and million variations, and I'm really just looking for the album.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know if I don't have my original playlist, but I think I had a Spotify playlist for like years that I was filling up, and I think Flurry is like on there for a while. So yeah, definitely for a while, I think. Or maybe I'm confusing with somebody else, but there's plenty of these type of artists and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely know I've shared her stuff here in the past.
Yeah. Okay. So anything else, Alan?
No, not really. You can find me on Twitter and Mastodon. It hasn't changed.
Okay. I need to get your links from Mastodon so it links to the right location. Polymatic.link/Alan for Alan. Well, not for Alan, just Alan. Polymatic.link/Alan to get to Alan.
And then when you get there, I'm not really there.
Yeah. For me, you can find me on Twitter, Polymatic.link/John. For feedback, you reach us podcast at Polymatic.media. For our Twitters, The Polymatic. Our website is Polymatic.media. And I hope you tune in next time.
What happens when Twitter dies? Then those Twitter addresses won't work anymore.
Because that we have that's why we have Polymatic there. We don't have twitter.com/webdebbie or something like that. Because we just link to the Polymatic, and I changed the Polymatic link because I have access to the database.
Yeah.